Good night, everyone. And today I want to make a different video. It's not a top 10 or disappointing albums. I'm talking about newer bands that sound like they could have come straight from the 1990s. They have influences from grunge, shoegaze, and there's a reason why I gravitated to these bands because I love the 90s. I grew up in that era, so listening to bands that have that sound or are influenced by that sound, it's something that I will naturally love. As you can see with the shirt, I'm rocking my Nirvana shirt. So I'm gonna talk about only four bands. Out of those four bands, three of them released albums in 2021. And out of those albums, two were in my top 30. One was very close but didn't quite make it, but it's a really good album still. And the other one, they put out an album last year, which made my list of last year. So without further ado, let's get into the bands. So first of all, I'm gonna talk about a band that's from New York. So I'll give a brief bio of the band. So this is Super Bloom and their album Pollen. As you can see, the album cover is pretty clear, lots of colors. So this band is from New York City. This is their debut album. It has some great songs on it. It's very alternative. It reminds me a little bit about like a Helmet meets a little bit of Smashing Pumpkins in between, that type of sound. So this is the back of the album, and I'm gonna show you the vinyl, and then I'm gonna talk about a few tracks that I love from this album. So I actually bought this album directly from the band. Here it's blue all the way, pretty nice color, and it's good to support bands that are new because streaming services are everything. I actually discovered this band because Spotify put it as a suggestion, so I heard it and I loved it so much that I said I'm gonna buy the physical album. So Pollen is a great album. So songs on it that I want to discuss. So there's a few songs here that are great, but my favorite is Hey Old Man, which is the first song on side A. I love Whatever, which is almost the second song on the album. But they have also great slower songs like Twig. They have other songs that have that classic alternative sound like Muscle and Leash and Mariana Shane. All the songs on this album are great, but if I had to pick my favorites, definitely Hey Old Man, Whatever, Leash, and Muscle. So Pollen by Super Bloom from New York City, check them out. The next band I'm gonna talk about also put out a new album this year. This is their first album. They hail from Minnesota. Their name is Comatose, and the name of the album is A Way Back. So this album, I found about this band because I follow a bass player from Puerto Rico. His name is Wesley Negron, and he put like a list of albums that came out on that Friday. This came out really at the beginning of the year, like I think early, like sometime January, February. But the album, they didn't release this album physically in vinyl until a few months later. They first released it online, so I heard it. At first, when the person I know posted it, I thought it was a hardcore band because I looked at the cover. I didn't know why. This is the back. I thought it was a hardcore band, but no, it's an alternative band. But they like to describe their sound as grunge gaze. So there's a little bit of grunge, there's a little bit of shoegaze in their influence, and it's pretty darn correct what this band sounds like. It's a great band. This is their first album, and I think they're working on new music now. I actually bought this album from their label. I got it a few months back, and let me show you the vinyl because it's so pretty. Look at this. Look at the colors on this vinyl. It's really a pretty looking vinyl, and it's a great band. I hope they keep on they make another album because I really love this album, and I think they're very promising. and I like the shoegaze and the grunge like mixed together. It makes for a great sound. So the next band I'm gonna talk about is the one that put out the album last year, and this is they're the least newest band on this list because they came out in 2012 with their first album, and they already have 5 albums. I'm talking about the band from Philadelphia, Nothing. And Nothing is a very atmospheric rock, shoegazy kind of band, a little bit depressive, but yes, it sounds like they would have been something out of the 90s. So I'm gonna show you the variant that I got. This album, it's great. Look at this vinyl variant, how good it looks with all the colors. Oh my God, I think I forgot to mention my favorite songs from the Comatose album, but that's okay. The whole album is good. So this album, this is the back, this is the front of the album. They have an ugly naked guy on it. So in this one, I think the song Say Less, Bernie Sanders, and A Fabricated Life are my favorite on this one. You really need to check them out. This is their 5th album, and very good band from Philadelphia, great sound. And the last but not least band that I'm talking about, it's a band that I discovered in 2018 where they put out their debut album. It was called Chrome Neon Jesus. Their name is Teenage Wrist. They hail from Los Angeles, California, and they're a great band. It has like an alternative sound, but they also a little bit shoegazy, but more alternative. And this is their 2nd album. It's called Earth is a Black Hole. It came out this year, and it made my list for this year. This is the inside of the album. This band had some lineup changes from their last album, so now there's 2 members left. The guitar player now is their lead singer, and this is their drummer, and you can see they're holding a bunny inside here. And this album I bought from the label. They're on Epitaph record label, which is a record label that usually puts out a lot of punk albums. So this is what this one looks like. It's like a bright red color. And this one, the single for this one, Earth is a Black Hole, is a great single, but they put out some other songs that are great, like I suggest Yellow Belly, and also High Again is great, Stellar, which closes the album, and The Taste of Gasoline. So you need to check them out, Teenage Wrist. I actually almost saw this band play. In 2018, I went to a concert that it was Fry's, The Bronx, and Teenage Wrist. Teenage Wrist were opening, but unfortunately I got there late, so I couldn't see them, so I missed that band. But oh well, hopefully I'll see them again. I think they're gonna be huge. They're gonna put out more albums, I hope. So since I missed my favorite songs for Comatose, I'm gonna talk about my favorite songs there. So Sinking, which closes the album, is great. Spread and Circles are my favorite from that album, but great album as well. So what are bands right now that are newer bands that you think sound like the 90s that we can talk about or you can discuss? I know there's been a revival of bands doing 90s sound, and I think it's great. I love the 90s, and there's some other bands doing like more of the new metal style too, which I could talk in another video. So until then, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a Couch. I'll see you on the next video.